Hello, amazing parents and caretakers, and welcome to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm your family empowerment coach, Celia Kibler. I'm a mom of a blended family of 5 kids. I'm a grandma of 9 kids, an author, a teacher, a speaker, and a consultant with over 40 years of training and real-life parenting experience. I'm here to offer you practical, doable tips, strategies, and techniques that will pump up your parenting skills and create peace, love, and laughter throughout your family. In addition, I'll be interviewing some great humans that are on a mission to make your life a better, happier, and healthier life. So let's not waste any time and get started with the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Thanks for listening. Leslie M. Wright is a multifaceted professional based in Greensboro, North Carolina, renowned for her expertise in event planning, authorship, and virtual assistance. In 2008, she founded Partiez By Leslie, a full-service event planning company dedicated to creating memorable experiences for clients. Through this venture, Leslie has demonstrated a keen eye for detail and a passion for orchestrating events that leave lasting impressions. Beyond her entrepreneurial endeavors, Leslie is an accomplished author and speaker, sharing insights and experiences that resonate with diverse audiences. Her ability to connect with people and convey compelling narratives has established her as a respectful figure in her community. Leslie's dedication to excellence and her diverse skill set make her a valuable asset in any endeavor she undertakes. Today, she's going to be talking about calm is a choice. You've heard this theme throughout. Choosing calm intentionally requires planning and commitment. Let's run the video for Leslie, please.
Welcome to the International Day of Calm Summit.
And Leslie, can we bring Leslie up, please? There we go. Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
How are you?
I am better after that video. That was so dope.
I know. Wasn't it great? The words in that video are fabulous.
Yes.
Thank you to Anupam for creating that. So we have Leslie here because we talk a lot about calm. We talk a lot about familiar situations. We talk a lot about our reactions, everything like that. But in everyday life, when we're going to work, when we're creating things, when we're making things, the Day of Calm Summit, an event, which we would laugh about because I would wake up in the morning and I'd message Czar or Anupam, like, well, what about this? What about this? And I would laugh. I'm like, this Day of Calm Summit is stressing me out. And I would laugh about it. And the reality is there are life situations that just present themselves on the spot. There's not like a planning for it. Like you're doing something, everything's going smoothly. And like yesterday, we couldn't get the sound to play on any of our videos or reels. What do we do? Did we freak out? Did we like, well, this is ridiculous? Monday, we lost connection. And the whole summit stopped and we had to set it back up. You could panic or you could find your calm and approach it like in the PEPA acronym, pause, evaluate, plan, and act. Figure out what's the best response. So that's a lot what Leslie and I are going to talk about. And we're going to do it in kind of a conversational presentation because I have some questions for Leslie as an event planner. And I know how stressful it can be. And I just do this. I don't do like major events, but we're going to reach out to Leslie for next year. But we're going to put her on board. But we're going to talk about it because events are one of those industries where anything can go wrong at any moment. And you have to basically put on a show. And that show has to seem seamless, so whatever. Has to seem really wonderful. So let me welcome Leslie to the International Day of Calm Summit as we celebrate today the International Day of Calm.
Thank you for having me. It's
Well,
going to
I'm
be
so
awesome.
grateful for you being here, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and your thoughts as we get started. So, one of the things I want to talk about is the fact that what you do is a pressure job. I am sure every event you plan has some amount of pressure to it. And as it gets closer and closer, all the working pieces have to come together because there are a lot of working pieces in event planning. So, can you share how you stay calm under pressure, all these pieces coming together, coming close to deadline, we're about to start, something happens. How do you handle that? Because you're experienced at this and this is what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me for the Calm Summit. We have all been so excited. The day is finally here. Oh, my word. Uh, so, how do I kind of regroup, right? Well, the first thing I do is evaluate my clients, right? How are they doing? I really try to put myself in their shoes and calm them first. You would think as an event planner that we would calm ourselves first, but I actually calm them first and I make sure they're okay. But then I will pause in the middle of planning and just pray. I have really learned that when we try to do things in our own strength, that's when we fall apart. That's when we fall apart. There's this amazing song, Hold It All Together by Maverick City. I just found it. I don't know if this song is new or not, but the lyrics talk about just that when we try to attempt to do everything that we know to do right, things fall apart in our hands. But when we leave it to God and we ask Him, how should I move forward, right? And creating the time to even do that. Because when there is panic, when things do seem to be crazy, it is harder to find time to pause, not just myself as the event planner, but also my client and say, let's go back to the drawing board and let's ask God, what does He want us to do in this moment? And I think that's what really sets me apart from a lot of other event planners out there is I will stop, drop, and pray in a minute because sometimes only the clarity is going to come from a higher source, from a higher power, when you yourself are foggy and panicked.
I love that. I love that. And you bring up a very important point. And for any situation, is you put yourself in the other person's shoes. You view their perspective. If you're a parent and you have children, Leslie, incredible little authors, and they've written the books, very, very fabulous little children. And you, as a parent, you need to recognize where your child is coming from and understand their abilities and capabilities. And, we've all, well, we haven't all, but if you work in any kind of service industry, you have clients and you have clients that are great and they're like, oh, anything I can do to help, wonderful, wonderful. And you have clients that are difficult. And if
Yes.
you work in a service industry, we have all worked with that client that is difficult. And sometimes you decide I'm not working with this client. They're not who I'm looking for. So how do you handle when you're putting someone in someone else's shoes? Because let me add this one more point. The reason other people frustrate us when they do things that do not align with our values it is so frustrating to us because we can't imagine doing that. We can't imagine. You see what's going on in the world, and these people that are just so upset, and not to get political, but they're destroying other people's property because they're mad. And they don't even know that person, and they're taking it out on their car. Like,
Right.
okay, like a little odd. Aligning with your values. Can you even imagine doing this? And maybe somebody can that's listening, but it is so foreign from anything I would do. It is hard for me to imagine someone else would think that's okay. And that alone is difficult. So when you're working with a difficult client that is not being respectful to you and demanding, how do you keep your cool? Because I'm sure you've had them.
Yeah, absolutely. I have, in 17 years, I've been through a lot. I have had cake thrown in my face
Oh my
at a
gosh.
wedding. Absolutely, with a disgruntled relative of a bride. I have been fired and then rehired before a wedding before, and I think what I have learned in the 17 years is that I have to ask critical questions. What calms me down? Asking critical questions, and not just only what's going on here, why is everyone upset, it's not my fault kind of questions, but questions that really help me derive at what that person is thinking and what they're going through. Right. And so I take myself out of the equation, and I say, what is this person experiencing right now? What have I missed? Right. And there's a level of humility and humanity to that. Right. It helps you see the other person as a human being. Right. What are they really upset about? What can we do to help ease that stress? And really removing yourself out of their frustration gives you space and opportunity to really kind of take a larger lens at things sometimes and say, well, maybe even it was me. Maybe I did do it. I think we live in a society and a world where we have a hard time saying, I might have been the problem, and that's okay, but how can I now be the solution in the same moment? How can I be the problem and the solution in the same moment? How can I own my participation in this moment? How can I reconcile it and bring us all back to a state of calm? And I think in society, we really feel like we've kind of lost our power in making a choice to be calm in spite of how other people are acting. My mother always used to say, but you like it until you don't, right? Like, so until you don't like it anymore, people are just to assume that you like it. And that used to always bother me because I was like, no, I'm really upset about this. And my mom said, no, you're not upset until you're like done with it. And so she was a real resolution oriented person. And someone has to draw the line in chaos, right? Someone has to say, all right, we've had enough of this. Someone needs to calm down. Someone has to have some rationale. Someone has to bring us back to the purpose. And it's really hard to do that if everybody is upset, but you've been paid to be the calm one. You know, in my industry, I am paid to be the calm one. So I take that very seriously.
Yeah, like Bob said, you make that shift. You decide to make the shift of what is growing emotionally in that situation.
Yeah.
And, again, one of the so much value was in what you just said. But one of the things you said was ask questions. I always say there are two key ingredients to communication, and that is being a good listener and not listen to like plan your rebuttal. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen to the person through your eyes and your heart and your ears.
Yes.
Because if you're looking at them, you're showing them you care. If
Yes.
you're listening with your heart, you're feeling the emotion they're talking from. If they're frustrated, you're going to see that and you're
Yes.
going to feel that. And the other is asking questions. Asking questions is the gateway to communication. If you're with
Yes.
your kids and you want to know something, don't take the word of somebody else. Ask them. If you want to know
Yes.
what they want to do, I was working with one of my clients and we were talking about things they could do on the weekend. And I was like, they said, I planned this one thing and she didn't want to do it. I said, have you asked her what she wants to do? And he's
Mhm.
like he didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, ask your daughter what she wants to do. Like,
Right.
so she has a voice, so she feels valued. And those things are so key. Ask questions, get to know what it is, because just like you said, Leslie, their reaction, and Bob said it too, their reaction is a symptom.
Yes.
It's a symptom of a core issue.
Hmm.
And if they are frustrated for you with like an event, there's something going on. And it may not even have anything to do with you or anything to do with the event.
Yes. 90% of the time.
Exactly.
90% of the time is what I've learned.
Exactly. But I also love that you said own it. You know,
Yeah.
part of this whole mission of mine, the International Day of Calm, this summit, and all the other work I do for parents, is part of it is not just the teaching of respectful parenting and the treatment of others, the controlling, learning how to control your anger and rage and your feelings and your emotions and your responses. It's the taking responsibility part. It is the taking responsibility and not judging, not criticizing. If something goes wrong and it's something you contributed to, own it. Don't
Yeah.
blame someone. Don't make excuses. Own it.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. Let's talk about how we can make it better.
Yes. Power in the apology.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what techniques do you do when you're busy doing all of this? Like I just can't imagine how busy I can't imagine because I know how busy it's been to do this. And this isn't even like something you walk into. Although next year we're going to really shoot for that, like a physical
Yeah.
celebration and summit. But when there are so many aspects
Mhm.
to producing something,
Mhm.
there's so many. Mike talked about time management, and increasing and organizing your time yesterday, which was great because people don't think about that. Time budgeting, I think he thought called it. They think of money budgeting, they don't think of time.
Mhm.
But when you have a million aspects to organize as someone who's leading an event, you're not doing it. You're organizing everybody else to do it. How are you able to stay mindful of it all and reduce the stress that I feel like is naturally created in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with the other speaker that it is about time management. I'm working on multiple events at one time. And since COVID-19, a lot of my clients went from having events in person to having them online. But now that the world has kind of opened back up 3, 4 years later, I now have a mix. So I have some clients that are hosting events online, like this summit. And then I have some that are getting back into in person. And what I have had to learn is two things. The first one is color coded calendars are your friend. Use a calendar, but also use an alarm, right? So a lot of people mastered the color coded calendar some time ago, but do you have alarms set? And I'll do an alarm for almost anything. My kids crack up laughing, but I will do an alarm like Leslie, time to eat. Leslie, time to work out.
Oh, my kids
Leslie,
make fun of
time
me
to...
all the time. They're
Yeah,
like, there's
make this
another
phone
alarm that mom's
call.
doing.
Yeah, yeah. But we got to identify what works for us, right? And one key thing that I learned last year was to even make it more specific. There is something about your brain triggers differently when you hear your name called. And so now what I do is I'll set an alarm, but it says, Leslie, go eat. Leslie, go rest. Leslie, get off of social media. Leslie, go to bed. And there is something about either hearing that on my alarm or my Alexa or what have you, or popping up that I look at it and I take it a lot more seriously than when I call like the empty alarms where it's okay, time to eat, time to have breakfast. for a long time, it was very suggestive, right? Like it was the equivalent of rolling over and cutting off the alarm to hit the snooze button. And I didn't realize that I was not calm at all. I was just snoozing, right? That when that snooze goes off, the alarm goes off again. And so what I had to learn was is my life was kind of like the snooze button, and I really had a false sense of calm. I was calm for like small moments, but not real ones, right? Because there would be another alarm go off and or another thing that I had to do. And I just began to lose control of my life, my schedule, and my calm, right? And so there was something divinely different last year when I made the choice to put my name in front of the alarm. My mind just began to register that a lot differently. So now everything says, Leslie, do this, Leslie, do that. And I guess it comes off more to the brain as a command, right? Like, okay, I got to do that. It's no longer suggestive. So that's been really powerful for me. And then also making sure that I, without guilt, say I need to step away. I need to step away. I need to step away from me. I need to step away for you. I need to step away from my kids. Like, in order for me to be good, I have to be good to myself first, which means I have to carve out space with more intentionality to be calm. Right? Like I have learned that calm doesn't just haphazardly happen. It is a choice. But if you don't make time to choose it, then that's how you easily find yourself not as calm as you could be, because you're making time for to be organized, you're making time for dinner, you're making time to do your budget, to spend time with your kids, to do that vacation. But do you have like on your calendar, on your alarm, to meditate, to pray, to be calm, to be silent? So when my second child was born, I have a 14-year-old and a 3. Pray for me out there. When I had the 3-year-old, right, I went back to parenting classes, right? Because I hadn't been a little infant parent in, I don't know, 10 plus years when Joshua hit the scene. And so I was so super dedicated. I went through the pregnancy network here in Greensboro, who I absolutely adore. And now I'm an educator with them because I think we just assume we'll fall into a state of calm at some point in time. At some point in time, I'll step away. And that time never really comes, right? Like something is always interrupting it. And so when I took the classes, they said, establish quiet hours. Now I have remembered quiet hours from school, but I don't think I really had quiet hours at home, right? And that was life changing for me. And so they said, when you bring that baby home, establish quiet hours. No one is coming over. You're not going anywhere, because that baby needs to have a sense of calm to regulate their sleep, to start regulating their feeding pattern. If you constantly have people buzzing around you all the time, that baby is like, is this life like this all the time? Right? So if your baby is aggravated or colicky or all the things, the first thing you want to do is rush them off to the doctor. When really all the doctors do is send you right back to your house to say, well, what's going on at home? That's one of the first things you get asked as a new mom. How is your home regimen? How are you doing? Right? And so now we do, even with my clients, I'll pull them away for a minute. Nope, let's just breathe. Let's just calm down for a second. Put the streamers down, right? Put the punch down, put your phone down. And I really just need you to like decompress and then come back. I got it. You paid me to be you for the day. I got it. But you need to go unplug, right? And so I do the same thing for myself. So I put myself on quiet hours. I also put myself on timeout, which tickles my friends and family. I will put myself in timeout quick because especially being a new 40-year-old person, I learned that my peace and my calm, I had been negotiating. Like, well, I'll find time for me. I'll find calm for me at some point in time. And that time would never come.
Yeah, yeah, I tell parents that a lot, is that when you're losing patience, it's you that needs the timeout, not your child. Go step
Yes.
away, go calm down. And,
Yes.
you know, that I love that you set your alarms with your names, because we always talk about what we say to ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves. And I'll tell you, that's why that works so well, because you are directly telling your brain. And when you tell your brain something negative or positive, your brain works to prove it true.
Mhm.
So if you're telling your brain, okay, Celia, it's time to go to sleep. Now
Yeah.
you've told it that, and it's going to work until I get up and out of this office and go to sleep. It's
Yes.
going to work to me. I'll start yawning. I guarantee you, I'll start yawning and it will go into this sleep mode, which your brain does have a sleep mode.
Yes.
And now I'm like, okay, well, I can't work anymore. I can't look
Yeah.
at the screen anymore. I can't do whatever I'm doing anymore because it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's all part of self care and understanding that you can't be everything everywhere.
Yeah.
You have to also take a step back. You have to, and for you, hiring people that hire you for what could be a very chaotic um, request, if you're in chaos, then how will you ever keep the calm?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so when you are stressed out personally, I know you said you give yourself a time out. When, the kids are stressing you out, or you're stressing out, and you have to get work done, how do you, is it just quiet time for everybody? How do you bring back control over your family and you so that you can continue on a more peaceful path?
Right. I talk to moms quite often throughout the year, and one thing is evident and true with a lot of us is that mom guilt is real. Okay. And so we want our kids to always be happy. We want everyone around us to always have this euphoric sense of who we are and that we're always, rainbows and skittles. But it's usually not until you're not that people step back like, whoa, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You're usually so happy. You're usually so bubbly. And I found that I was getting that feedback from not only my children, but also people I would work with. And they just didn't know how people I would date. Right? Like, well, Leslie, you're always so happy. It was almost like when I wasn't happy, it was offensive.
Right,
I
right. I've
said, well,
had
what
people
in the
say that
world?
to me. You're
Yeah,
always happy. What's wrong with you? You're
what's
always
wrong with
happy.
you? What's wrong with you? As if you're not allowed to have a day where you're not okay. Right. And so what I started stepping back and saying, instead of being upset with them for questioning why I wasn't happy or why couldn't I just get it together, I really have had a chance in the past few months, especially coming into 2025, to say, what have I allowed people to think about me? What have I allowed people to think about me? Have I put on a facade almost, really, right? Some transparency talk with yourself there. Have I allowed to think, make people think, or allow people to think that I am happy all the time? And that is an innate problem, right? Because you can't keep that up. And after a while, as the elders say, your slip begins to show, right? That's if you're a church mom, you know what I'm talking about. But your slip begins to show where you just can't fake it anymore. Nope. No, I can't be happy. It's not a happy time, period. Right? There's the period. And so for me, my bedroom as of late has been a huge sanctuary. Now, normally I'll paint my room, but I haven't in this house. But my bedroom has been my absolute sanctuary. I cut off all my lights and then I just have on a lamp. And I do rain sounds on my Alexa. It'll change your life. Okay. I have rain sounds and thunderstorm sounds, and I just check out. Sometimes I don't cut the TV on, sometimes I do. I'll put on my favorite show, and I'll just go into a self-care mode. I'll put on a mask, I'll read, I'll call up one of my best girlfriends that can pour into me. What I have found is usually when we're at that point, we're all poured out. Have you ever been there where you're like all poured out? I have nothing left to give.
Right,
And,
right.
and
I think
oftentimes,
everybody's been there.
yeah, and oftentimes we wait until we're there to realize we're not in the state of calm that we were fighting for so hard, right? Like, God, why did you take me here? Have you ever had someone say that about someone? Man, they made me come out of character,
Yeah.
right? They made me step out of character. I don't like when people trigger me.
And then we blame others
Yeah,
for
we
our
blame others.
response and sometimes God.
Yeah,
Like,
when you
I
were the
thought
one
you
that
loved
had,
me. How can you
yeah,
treat me like this?
absolutely. When you were the one that had the false sense of calm to begin with, you
Right,
weren't calm when you went to the event. You were not calm when you sat down with your children. You were not calm when you sat down with your boss. You weren't. You were not calm when you sat with your client. You weren't. Right? Like if we really pull back the veil, you probably weren't in the best state that you should have been in to begin with. And
right.
so that's makes it so easy to blame someone else because you really stop taking inventory of yourself. Uh-oh.
Right. That
Right?
personal responsibility. It's like I tell people, I mentioned earlier today when I ask parents, who makes you yell? And they'll be like, my kids
Ooh,
make me yell, my husband makes me yell, my wife makes me yell, my parents make me yell. And they'll list all these people. And I'll be like, no, the only one making you yell is you.
you.
You're making you yell.
You need time away from everyone else to even do that type of assessment. Because with that type of assessment also comes a different level of accountability. We live in
Yes.
a world where people don't want to be accountable. And it drives my friends and family crazy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that I'm just huge on accountability. You told me you were calling me at 11:30. It is now
Integrity.
11:32. Yeah, it is 11:32, and no, I can't take your phone call. And I've even had to start doing that with clients. Well, Leslie, why can't I just call you? My business coach says because my office hours are. And I've had to learn that I would just kind of let people
You
call
have
me
to
all
set your
willy
own
nilly.
boundaries.
Yeah, I had used to let people call me all willy nilly. I'm out with my kids and I'm getting a business call. I'm out with my kids and come on, moms, can anybody agree with me out there? Every time you're trying to do you time, me time, help time, whatever, someone's on fire. In my
Right.
world, everyone's on fire all the time.
Right.
And so if I don't make a conscious decision to say, no, you're actually not on fire. Right now, I need you to step back and take some inventory of yourself and what you can control. I'll be back in an hour. It
Right.
has been so freeing. Or no, I won't take your phone call today because you're interrupting my call.
Right.
It
And
is
that's
a
why
conversation.
also organizing and structuring your home,
Yes.
we have a wonderful book that is the family framework that if anybody wants it, just send us a message and we'll send it to you. And it gives you a framework of basically how to structure your home so that you can set up those limits and boundaries, take care of yourself while taking care of your kids, and you're teaching your children to do the same with their life. They are
Yeah.
not living in chaos. So much running around and craziness that your children display is because they're in chaos. They're
Yeah.
living in chaos, so they're living themselves chaotically.
Yeah. That's one thing that I get compliments on often when people come to visit my home because they're like, well, where are the boys? We don't hear them. I said, you're not supposed to. Come on. You're not supposed to. You're coming over during business hours. They know I'm doing business, so they're upstairs and they're quiet, right? And I laugh and I joke with people often because I'm like, they know what it is. If mommy gets interrupted, then I can't make the money to take them to Chuck E. Cheese or the movies or whatever. And they're
There
like,
are
well, we can afford
priorities.
that. Yeah, I mean, they're telling other people to please be quiet. She's working.
Right.
My boys know not to even approach me if my phone is to my ear. I have friends who are like, oh, Leslie, I got to get off the phone because my kids are in the background. Girl, what? Do you hear my children right now?
Right. And they're in the house
And they're in the house. But that should be the
because you're
normal.
you're
That should be the
teaching
calm.
respect both ways.
Yeah.
And I've met your children and they're very respectful.
Yeah. And my
Respect
kids
goes
got
two
that.
ways and it is taught. If you
Yes.
are disrespecting your children and yelling and screaming and hitting is disrespectful. People that go, well, I have to spank him because that's how he respects me. He doesn't respect you. He's afraid of you. Do you want your kids afraid of you? You teach respect by being respectful. That
Yeah.
whole interrupting the phone thing, are you walking up to them and expecting them to do something the second you ask? Because if you are, that is the same behavior they're showing back to you of like, mommy, 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 I'm on the phone. Well, that's not any different than get up and do this right now. It is the
Yeah.
same thing. You have to teach respect to
Yes.
earn and receive respect.
Yes. Yes.
So, Leslie, I have to like organize myself in my thoughts because we like go on these tangents. But that's good because it's like real life situations. Like Czar said, she can so relate with a toddler and two school age boys. And Anupam said when you said Alexa, I did it again, Anupam. You triggered is Alexa. I used to work with a family that had an Alexa, and I would
Yes.
disguise the name and said, like, call it something else so that it wouldn't trigger it. See, we
Yes.
triggered it. It's good. I'm just going to throw that word out there once in a while. So
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about, and I know, oh, and I have to check to see if we're on. Oh, we only have a couple minutes. So maybe we won't talk about this because we're running late. Well, just touch on balance, finding balance, because that is it's a big word for
Yes.
parents that have kids and that work as well. Where is that balance? How do we keep it from being chaotic? I know you touched on schedules and alarms. Is there anything else you want to address about balance, having balance in
Yeah.
your life?
Yeah, absolutely. You briefly touched on my book, which I hope everybody
Yes,
gets.
there's her book. Ask for me, my house.
There it is. As for me and my house, I absolutely love this book because I walk you through what it means to onboard your family for entrepreneurship. What are the conversations that we need to have? The tough ones and the easy ones. What does that look like? So that my whole house begins to understand that, I'm a person, I have a dream, but I see you also in the dream. And one thing that I have had to quickly learn is to teach my children that I am a human being. I am not just mom. Leslie, what do you mean? When your kids are young and they are establishing who the authoritative figures are in their life, it is very easy for you to become the machine. In your home, in your life, in your circles, you're the one that does this. And it's easy for people to say, well, I didn't know you felt that way. Well, you never asked. You just assumed that this was the hat I wore, and that was always my hat. And so my function was always this, and I could never be out of that boundary. And so what I've had to learn is that I cannot be negotiable, like Leslie. Not Leslie as mom, Leslie as friend, Leslie as sister, but Leslie cannot be negotiable. And so once you draw a line in the sand about that, you begin communicating to others very differently. That mommy has feelings. So I'll say things, case in point, my 3-year-old, he is very blunt, very blunt. Okay. And he'll say something like, well, mom, I don't like your shirt. And I'll say, excuse me, but mommy likes this shirt. And he's like, but I don't. And I say, but that's okay. Because Leslie, mommy, I like this shirt.
Right, right.
And here's why. Right. And so what I'm also doing is teaching my 3-year-old to have dialogue about things that are different. You may not agree, but I can agree. And so I've really worked really hard to still have my autonomy, even though I play all these beautiful roles in all these people's lives, but that I have my own dreams, my own goals, and that I matter as an individual. Like Leslie is in this house and I matter separate from all the roles that I carry.
Right.
So that's what helps.
And one of the most important things that you said too was that you get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
Everybody in your family is a team. You
Yes.
all have the various visions of each other as well as the various visions for your family.
Yes.
So the one thing I can ask you guys to do after this is sit down with your family. And I do this with all of my clients, have a meeting and create a family vision.
Yes.
One that's for you. Add all your values, brainstorm goals. And again, there is a workbook for this that you can get.
Family meeting.
Bring all of that together.
Yes.
And let even the little ones join in. And
Yes.
then narrow things down and create like a 5-sentence vision for your
Yes.
family.
Even my
And
3-year-old
post it.
is
Have
family
everybody
meeting.
sign it. They'll love signing it. And
Yes.
post it
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes, even my 3-year-old contributes to the family meeting. And I would add to that, Celia, have that family meeting often.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
Every
feel like you have
week.
to have it
Every week.
once a
Same
year.
time.
Yeah, don't
Same
feel like you
bad
have to have
time,
that
same
family
bad
meeting
channel.
once a year. Same bat channel. And
Yeah.
if I feel
Weekly.
like we're getting too chaotic, we'll pull in a family meeting. Hey, I'll see y'all at dinner at 6 o'clock family meeting, and please be on time. And
Yeah.
and all of them come
And
tracing
I
down.
tell my clients, set it the same time every week. So
Yes.
this isn't just, oh, we need to talk. This is us getting on the same page every week at the same time. It's 15 to 20 minutes. I have an agenda for it that you should follow and everything. So
Yes.
donate to the Day of Calm. Send me a message. If you donate $5, that's all you have to donate. I will give you the parenting playbooks, 1, 2, and 3. They are invaluable, and they have all of this in them. Donate to the Day of Calm. Go to our website. I don't even know. I don't think you can take a picture of this. Can you take a picture of that little QR code? Probably not. Go to our website. Go to dayofcalm.org. Donate. There's some gift for all of you from $1 to $1,000. And the quilt back here, first person to give $1,000 gets the quilt. So it's nonprofit, all tax deductible. And oh, yeah, there you go. There's a little donate thing, little donate guy. And I throw in the parenting playbooks. So,
Yay.
Leslie, thank you so much for your wisdom and for being here. Was so, just these conversations are so helpful because you hit on things we haven't even hit on yet. With all the conversations, there's still some other pieces of wisdom that we all need to recognize that are relating to our own life.
Yes, absolutely.
And how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I am a Facebook fanatic. Anybody on Facebook a ton? I am. My babies and I are on there. You can go to Two Brothers and Books, which is their Facebook page, and I will get the messages from everything from booking us to speak at your virtual events or your in-person events. Maybe you need help hosting an event or writing a book. Whatever it is, let's just connect, okay? Like, send me a message and let's get together. Celia, thank you so much for having me on.
And for your book, Michelle wanted your book.
Yes.
And I think, Zar put the link to your book on there.
Thank you.
I believe that's a link to the book. Anyway, thank you so much. Hold up your book again.
Yes.
You have it right there.
There
it is. As for me and my house.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of the International Day of Calm because I know you will.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. If this episode was helpful to you, please share it with a friend and leave us a review that will help others. Wonder why kids don't come with a manual? Well, wonder no more because I wrote you one and it's just won a wonderful Mom's Choice Award. Go to celiasbooks.com and buy your copy of Raising Happy Toddlers as well as my children's books. I appreciate you being part of my mission to help 10 million parents stop yelling at their kids. Please be intentional and hug on those kids of yours. See you at the next episode.